The bell above the cafe door jingled as I stepped inside, brushing the cold from my coat. I wasn't supposed to be here yet, Ethan had said. Meet me at 11. But my meeting got canceled, so I thought I'd surprise him. I wish I hadn't. We're at the corner table, Clara's hand on his cheek, its lips on hers. Ethan. My voice cracked before I could stop it. They broke apart like nothing was wrong. Clara's lipstick smudged against his mouth. Oh, hey, Shisa. Like I'd just walked in on them sharing a cup of coffee. What is this? My hands were trembling, and I hated that they could see it. Ethan leaned back in his chair, no guilt in his eyes. You weren't supposed to come yet. That's what you have to say to me. I almost laughed. I walk in on you kissing my best friend, and that's your line. Clara tilted her head, smirking. Don't. Make it dramatic, Isla. Don't. My voice broke. Don't make it dramatic. Clara, you've been my best friend since we were kids. She shrugged. People change. People. I stared at Ethan. What about you? 3 years together, was all of it fake? He exhaled slowly, like I was exhausting him. It's not that simple. Yes, it is, I said, my throat tightening. You cheated. Clara rolled her eyes. You always act like you're so perfect. Ethan deserves someone who actually understands him. My pulse pounded in my ears. And that's you? Yes, she said without hesitation. Not like you were going to keep him forever. You're too soft. My chest hurt like she'd stabbed me. Soft. Ethan's mouth twitched, almost a smile. She's not wrong. I stared at him, searching for some flicker of regret, but there was nothing. You've been lying to me for how long? I whispered. He didn't answer. That silence was worse than the kiss. You're pathetic, I said, my voice shaking. Harder now, both of you. Clara leaned closer to him. Don't listen to her, Ethan. She's too weak to leave you anyway. My whole body froze. I'm weak. My voice rose, but it cracked at the end. You're in my seat drinking coffee I bought you 100 times, and you're calling me weak. Ethan finally frowned. Don't. My voice was low now. Don't you dare say my name like you still have the right. The barista glanced over, sensing the tension. I could feel the stares from other tables. I turned toward the door. My legs felt like they were carrying someone else's body. Behind me, Clara called out, You'll thank us one day. I stopped, my hand on the door. No, I said, not turning around. One day, you'll regret this. Both of you. I walked. Out into the cold, the wind slapping my face. The air outside felt sharper than the air inside. Or maybe that was just the hole in my chest. My phone buzzed in my pocket. It was Ethan. I let it ring. Then it was Clara. I blocked her before she could leave a voicemail. I didn't go home right away. I just walked. Past shop windows I didn't see. Past people who didn't see me. My reflection in the glass looked like a stranger wide eyes, pale lips, and that hollow space where my smile used to be dotted some point. My feet carried me to the small park near my apartment. The benches were empty. I sat down, gripping the edge of the seat so hard my fingers hurt. The cold seeped through my coat, but I didn't care. I replayed the scene again and again, the way Clara smirked, the way Ethan didn't even look sorry. How long had this been going on? Did they laugh about me when I wasn't there? Did Ethan kiss her after leaving my bed? A lump rose in my throat. I swallowed it down. I didn't cry. Not there. Not yet. When I finally went home, I shut the door and leaned against it. Sliding down until I was sitting on the floor, the silence in my apartment was suffocating. My phone lit up with messages. Ethan, can we talk? Ethan, it's not what you think. Ethan, I still care about you. Care? I laughed out loud, but it came out broken. Then a message from Clara. You're overreacting. It's better this way. I dropped the phone. That night, I sat on my bed, knees pulled to my chest. I stared at the wall until my eyes burned. The words kept echoing, she's too weak to leave you anyway. maybe they were right. Maybe I was weak, but something in me whispered, not for long. By the time the sun came up, I'd made one decision. I wasn't going to beg, wasn't going to scream. I was going to disappear from their lives like I'd never existed. And one day, they'd see me again, and it wouldn't be as the girl they broke. It would be as the woman they could never touch. I hadn't left my apartment in 3 days. The blinds were shut. The air was stale, and my phone wouldn't stop buzzing. I let it go to voicemail again. My mother's voice came through the speaker. Isla, please call me. Whatever happened, you're stronger than this. Don't let it break you. I turned the phone face down. Stronger than this, I whispered. She has no idea. The knock on my door startled me. I froze. Another knock. I stayed silent, hoping they'd leave. It's Noah. A voice said softly. I hesitated. Noah, we'd worked together for almost a year, barely talking beyond polite hellos. Why was he here? The knocking stopped, then came. Again, gentler. I brought soup. You don't have to talk. Just open the door. I pulled the blanket tighter around me. Why? I asked, my voice cracking. Because you didn't come to work. You looked like you needed it last time I saw you. I pressed my forehead against the door. I'm not good company. Not here for company, he said. Here because sometimes people need someone to knock. Something in me broke a little at that. I unlocked the door. Noah stood there holding a plastic bag. His eyes flicked over me, but he didn't comment on the mess my tangled hair, the oversized hoodie, the shadows under my eyes. Soup, he said simply, handing it to me. I took it, the heat warming my hands. You didn't have to, I know. He shoved his hands in his pockets, but I wanted to. I stepped back so he could come in. It's a disaster in here. I've seen worse, he said, his tone calm, like he wasn't judging me at all. We sat at the small table. I peeled the lid off the container, steam curling up into my face. You're not going to ask what happened? I asked. No, he said. You'll tell me if you want to. That quiet made me want to speak more than any question would have. They betrayed me, I whispered. His eyes softened. Someone close? To someone's I swallowed hard. My boyfriend. My best friend. He didn't flinch, didn't give me the usual, oh no, or I'm so sorry, just, that's a deep cut. Feels like I'm bleeding out, I said. He leaned back, then we stopped the bleeding first. The rest comes later. I stared at him. You make it sound simple. It's not, but it's possible. We ate in silence for a moment. The soup was salty and warm. It made me realize I hadn't eaten since yesterday morning. You've been here alone the whole time, he asked. Yeah, no friends to check on you. Not anymore. My voice was sharp, without meaning. To be, he nodded. Family, they don't know the details. I don't want to hear their pity. Then you hear mine instead, he said. I looked up sharply. I don't want pity either. Good, he said, meeting my eyes, because I wasn't offering it. That shut me up for a moment. He finished his soup and set the container down. You're not going to like what I say next. Try me. You should shower. Eat something real. Open the blinds. Not for them, for you. I almost laughed. You're giving me a to-do list now. I'm giving you a way to breathe. He said. His words landed heavier than I expected. You think I'm pathetic? I said. No. He said immediately. I think you're hurting, and that's different. The silence after that wasn't uncomfortable. When he stood to leave, I surprised myself. Wait. He stopped at the door. Why did you really come? His gaze met mine for a long second. Because I've been where you are. And someone once knocked on my door, too. I felt my throat tighten. Did it help? He gave the faintest smile. Yeah, eventually. After he left, I stood in the middle of my apartment, holding the empty soup container. The room looked the same messy, dim. Lifeless, but something inside me felt less heavy. I replayed his words. We stopped the bleeding first. I still didn't know how. But for the first time in days, I thought maybe I wanted to try. Clara's laugh carried across the office like nails on glass. "Morning, Slay," she said, handing me a file with a smile too wide to be real. "Morning," I replied, keeping my voice flat. "You look better," she said, tilting her head. "Getting over it?" "I wasn't aware you cared," I said. Her smile twitched. "Course I do. We're still friends, aren't we?" "Ah, we were dead in the eye. Are we?" She just laughed and walked away, her heels clicking like a metronome in my head. "Bye." 9 that night, the office was almost empty. I stayed behind, telling myself I had work to finish, but really, I just didn't want to go home. As I passed Clara's desk, I saw it's an envelope with my name nowhere on it but Ethan's handwriting, all over it. My chest tightened. I glanced around. No one. I opened it. "Clara, you were right. She's the fastest way in. Mr. Hart will trust me if she does. Once I get the proposal signed, we're set. You'll get your cut. Keep her close until then." Ethy paper shook in my hands. The room felt colder. It wasn't love. It was business. My voice came out as a whisper. He used me for my father. I didn't hear the footsteps until someone spoke. "Isla." I spun around. It was Daniel from accounting. "You're still here?" he asked. "Yeah, just finishing something." I folded the letter fast and slipped it into my bag. "You okay?" "I'm fine." My voice was sharper than I meant. "Good night, Daniel." I went straight to my father's office. He was still there, tie loosened, reviewing contracts. "Dad," I said. He looked up. "Isla, it's late. What's wrong?" I set the letter in front of him. "Read it." He scanned it, his expression hardening. "Ethan Cole wrote this." "Yes." My throat felt tight. "He's using me to get to you. Clara's helping him." He exhaled slowly. "I warned you about mixing work and personal life." "I know," I said, "but I thought he loved me." My father's gaze softened for just a second. "People like Ethan, they see opportunity, not people. I'll handle him." "No," I said quickly, "I'll handle him." He raised an eyebrow. "You?" "I'm not going to let them win." My voice didn't shake this time. Not this time. He studied me, then nodded once. "If you're serious, you need to think before you act." I already am. Back at my apartment, I tossed the letter onto the table and stared at it. When my phone rang, I almost didn't answer. Ethan's name flashed on the screen. I picked up. "What? Hey, babe," he said like nothing had happened. "Haven't heard from you much? Everything okay?" I almost laughed. "You tell me, what's that supposed to mean?" "I read your letter to Clara." Silence. "Then you went through her things. That's all you have to say?" My voice rose. "She used me. She used my father's company? Was anything real?" "Isla, you're overreacting." "Don't," I cut in. "Don't you dare spin this. Key, don't understand." "No, I understand perfectly." My hand tightened on the phone. "We're done, Ethan, and whatever deal you thought you had, it's over. You'll regret this," he said, his voice low. I hung up for the first time in weeks. I didn't cry. I stood in the quiet, my chest heaving, my fingers still curled. From holding the phone too tightly, the betrayal still burned. But something else burned hotter. I wasn't going to drown anymore, they thought. I was weak. They were about to find out how wrong they were. "Noah, can you pass me that file?" I asked, typing without looking up. "You've been different lately," he said, handing it over. "Different? How?" "Focused. Like you're chasing something." I gave a small smile. "Maybe I am." He didn't press. That was what I liked. About Noah, he didn't ask for details I wasn't ready to share. 2 weeks later, I found myself at a networking event I never would have gone to before. The room buzzed with voices and clinking glasses. I spotted Lena Brooks across the room, sharp blazer, sharper eyes. I approached her before I could talk myself out of it. "Hi, I'm Isla Hart. I've been following your work with the Startup Accelerator." She looked me over and, I've an app concept. I want to apply for the grant program. Do you have a prototype?" "Not yet. I have wireframes." and a business plan. She raised an eyebrow. "You're new to this, aren't you?" "Yes," I admitted, "but I learned fast." Lena smirked. "Send me your pitch deck by Monday. If it's terrible, I'll tell you. If it's good, I'll help you polish it." I felt my pulse race. "Thank you." Back at my apartment that night, Noah knocked on my door holding coffee. "You're still awake?" he asked. "I have to send a pitch deck by Monday." "Do you need help?" I hesitated. "Only if you're okay with me being a nightmare to work with." He smiled faintly. "I've worked with worse." The weekend blurred into late nights, empty coffee cups, and frantic typing. "Your user flow is clean," Noah said, looking over my diagrams. "But the market research section is weak." "I know," I groaned. "I've been digging through reports all day." He pointed to a statistic. "Lead with this. It makes your value proposition stronger." I wrote it down without looking up. "You're a lifesaver," he shrugged. "You're doing all the work." By Monday, I was exhausted but proud. I emailed Lena my deck with trembling hands. Her reply came within hours. "Meet me Wednesday. We're going to make this better." Wednesday came. "Your idea has legs," Lena said, flipping through my slides. "But your pitch delivery? Wooden." I frowned. "I'm not a public speaker." "You will be," she said, standing. "Start from slide 1, and this time tell me why I should care." I stumbled through my presentation while she interrupted. Constantly. "Slow down. Look at me, not the screen. And for God's sake, stop apologizing before you speak." By the end of the hour, my voice was hoarse. She smiled. "Better keep practicing. Applications close in 3 weeks." The next few days were brutal. Rejection emails piled up from investors I cold emailed. One said my idea was cute but unrealistic. Another simply wrote, "Not interested." Each one stung, but weirdly, each one made me more determined. One afternoon, Clara's name lit up my phone. I stared at it before answering. "Isla, it's been forever," she said, her voice dripping sugar. "Yeah, been busy. I heard you're working on something. Word gets around," I said casually. "I just wanted to check in. Okay, make sure you're okay after everything." I bit back a laugh. "That's sweet. Kino Ethan's been under a lot of pressure." Lately, she continued, "His company's had some setbacks. I just thought maybe, I'm sure he'll figure it out." I said flatly. She hesitated. "Well, if you ever want to talk, I'll keep that in mind." When I hung up, I couldn't stop smiling. 2 days later, Lena called. "You're through to the shortlist." I almost dropped my phone. "Seriously?" "Don't celebrate." Yet, the final pitch is in front of a panel. "We'll be grilled. I'll be ready." "You'd better be," she said. "Because if you crash and burn, I'll pretend I never met you." I laughed, but my stomach was in knots. Noah noticed. My tension at work. Panel interview. "Next week, wanna practice?" I hesitated. "You're not going to go easy on me, are you?" He smirked. "Not a chance." We spent the next 2 hours in an empty meeting room. He fired brutal questions at me about market size, competition, monetization. I stumbled, defended, revised my answers on the fly. "You're getting better," he said after the 10th round. "I still sound nervous." "You'll sound confident when you decide you deserve to win." His words stayed with me long after I left on Friday. Lena introduced me to a panelist from last year's competition. Biggest mistake people make. I asked him. "They pitch features, not solutions," he said. "Solve a pain point. Make them believe you're the only one who can." I wrote it down. That night, I rewrote my opening line for the 10th time. The day before the pitch, Clara called again. "Hey, I was thinking we should meet for coffee," she said. "Why, I miss you," she said. "And I have some things to tell you about." "Ethan, I'm busy," I said. "Maybe next week." "Isla, I'm trying to help." "No," I said softly. "You're trying to find out what I'm doing, and you won't." She went quiet. "You've changed." "Good." I hung up before she could answer. That night, I stood in front of my bathroom mirror, practicing my pitch until my voice was steady and my eyes didn't flicker away from my reflection. I wasn't doing this to prove Clara wrong, or Ethan, or even my father. I was doing this because I finally believed I could. The moment I stepped into the ballroom, conversations paused for a beat. "Noah," I whispered, leaning toward him. "Are they staring?" He smirked. "You clean up well. Don't let it get to your head. I'm not used to it." "Get used to it," he said. "Tonight you're here as a contender." Crystal chandeliers glimmered overhead and the air buzzed with the sound of deals being made. I adjusted my black dress and scanned the room for Lena. That's when my gaze froze. Ethan, he was leaning against the bar, drink in hand, looking like the same man I once thought I'd marry. Except when his eyes met mine, something shifted. His hand stilled, his smirk faltered. "No, Clara." I felt Noah's voice at my ear. "You okay?" "I'm fine," I said, forcing my gaze away. "Let's find Lena." But Ethan moved first, stepping through the crowd toward me. "Isla," he said, stopping just a foot away. "Wow, you look different, stronger," I asked lightly. He gave a small laugh. "I was going to say beautiful, but thanks," I cut in, my tone polite. Enjoying the event, he hesitated. "It's not the same without certain people I wouldn't know," I said. "I've been busy." His eyes searched mine, like he was trying to find the girl he once knew. "I heard about your pitch. Congratulations." I smiled, but it didn't reach my eyes. "Excuse me, Ethan? I have someone I need to speak to." I turned before he could answer and made my way toward a woman in an emerald suit who radiated authority's Kendra Lee, double quotes, Ms. Lee, said, extending my hand. "I'm Isla Hart. I've been following your investments in AI startups." Her grip was firm. "And what is it you're building?" I launched into my 1-minute pitch. Her eyes stayed on me the whole time. "Concise," she said when I finished. "Most people ramble. I like that you don't. Had a lot of practice." I said, "Send me your full proposal by Monday. If it's as sharp as your summary, we'll talk." When she walked away, Lena appeared at my side. "Her attention?" "I think so." "Good. Don't waste it." I smiled. "I won't." From across the room, I could feel Ethan's gaze still on me. I let him look. I didn't approach, didn't give him the satisfaction of a second conversation. Noah rejoined me with 2 glasses of water. "You handled that well?" "Which part?" "Both Ms. Lee and Ethan." I didn't even realize my heart was racing until I walked away from him. I admitted. "Still shaken?" I shook my head. "No." That's the thing. It wasn't love. It was just history. And history doesn't own me anymore. Later, as I left the event, Ethan caught me near the exit. "Isla, wait." I turned slowly. "Yes. I didn't expect to see you like this." "Like what?" "Like you don't need me," he said quietly. I held his gaze. "That's because I don't," he swallowed. "Clara and I were not." "I don't care," I said gently. "Really, Ethan, I don't." He looked like he wanted to say more, but I stepped past him toward the door. Outside, the night air felt cool against my skin. Noah was waiting by the car. "You ready to go?" he asked. "More than ready." As the city lights blurred past on the ride home, I realized something I hadn't just survived seeing. Ethan. I'd walked away without a single crack in my heart, and that was its own kind of victory. "Noah," I said, as I set my laptop on the cafe table, "you're not going to believe what I just heard." He looked up from his coffee. "Ethan related." Unfortunately, I lowered my voice. Clara took his biggest clients, left him for some investor twice his age. Noah raised an eyebrow. "Karma works fast sometimes." "I shouldn't care," I said, "but I do. 'Cause it's proof," he replied, "that what happened to you wasn't about you. It was about them." That night, my phone lit up with an unknown number. I didn't answer, but a voicemail came through. "Isla." Ethan's voice slurred. I need to talk. "Please, I messed up. Everything's falling apart." I stared at the screen until it went dark. Then I pressed delete. The next morning, Noah asked, "You going to call him back?" "No, not even to rub it in." I shook my head. The silence will say more. My project had been gaining traction fast. A small blog post about it had gone viral, and messages from curious developers flooded my inbox. I was pulling 12-hour days, but I wasn't tired. I was lit up from the inside. One evening, Noah dropped by my apartment with takeout. "You're eating," he said, sliding the bag toward me, "and not another protein bar." I laughed. "Bossy. Someone has to be," he said, leaning against the counter. "You've been on fire lately." "I have to be," I replied. "This is my shot. If I don't push now, someone else will take the space." He studied me for a moment, like he was weighing whether to say something. "What?" I asked. "I admire you," he said simply. I blinked. "What?" "You took something that could have broken you and turned it into this." "That's not normal, Isla." I tried to joke it away. "Maybe I'm just stubborn." "No," he said. "You're strong. And it's not the kind of strength people show off for attention. It's the quiet kind. The kind that's real." Swallowed hard. "You have no idea how much that means." "Hey," said Dot. I hesitated. Most of my life, people liked me for what I could give them. My father's connections, my ideas, my loyalty. He didn't say anything, just let me keep going. I thought if I gave enough, people would stay. But it turns out they'll still leave sometimes with your heart in their pocket. Noah's jaw tightened. "Ethan?" "And Clara," I said softly. He leaned closer, his voice steady. "I'm not them." Something in my chest ached, not in the painful way it used to, but like a wound healing too fast, skin stretching over something tender. "Don't say that." "Unless you mean it," I told him. "I mean it," he said without blinking. My phone buzzed again, another unknown number. I flipped it over without looking. "Ethan?" Noah asked. "Probably. You're not tempted at all?" "Not even?" "A little," I said. The girl who loved him doesn't exist anymore. A week later, I saw Ethan at a downtown cafe through the window. He was sitting alone, staring at his phone. The confident smile I remembered replaced by something cracked. He didn't see me, but I didn't look away. I wasn't angry. I wasn't even smug. I just saw him, a man who thought he could break. Me and Keep Winning. Noah came up beside me with 2 coffees. "You okay?" "Yeah," I said, turning away from the glass. "Let's go." That night, as we worked side by side at my dining table, Noah nudged my arm. "You're smiling," he said. "I am." "Yeah, you haven't stopped for the last hour." I laughed quietly. "Guess I'm just happy." He raised his glass of water toward me, to the cracks in other people's smiles and the strength in yours. I clinked mine against his, to moving on. Ms. Lee set her teacup down and looked at me like she could see every hesitation I was trying to hide. "I'll fund the app," she said, "but I want 20% equity." My hands went still around my notebook. "You're serious?" "Completely." She replied, "I think it's brilliant." But brilliance without reach is wasted. I have the reach. I hesitated. 20% is a lot. Ms. Lee tilted her head. "You came to me for a reason, Isla. You want to scale? Do you want recognition? And you want to beat anyone who thinks they can take your place." I gave a small laugh. "You're very direct. It's why people listen," she said. "Yes, I do." "We have a deal." Noah, seated beside me, leaned in. "This is what you've been working toward." "I know," I whispered. "Then say yes," he murmured. I turned back to Ms. Lee. "Okay, deal." She smiled, sharp and satisfied. "Good. We'll announce it at the launch." The weeks that followed blurred into preparation branding meetings. Strategy calls, sleepless nights spent perfecting the demo. Noah kept pace with me, never complaining, even when my kitchen table disappeared under piles of mock-ups. "You ready for this?" he asked the morning of the event. "No," I said honestly, "but I'm doing it anyway." The venue buzzed with voices, cameras flashing at the entrance. I stepped onto the stage, lights hot on my face. Breathe, Noah mouthed from the side. Ms. Lee opened the launch with a speech that made me sound like a visionary. And now, she said, gesturing toward me, the woman who built it, Lila Hart. The applause hit like a wave. I smiled into the microphone. Thank you. This started as an idea I was too afraid to share. Now it's real, and it's just the beginning. After the demo, reporters swarmed. How does it feel to have Ms. Lee backing you? One asked. Empowering, I said. Proves the right people will find you if you keep going. I spotted Noah talking to a developer across the room. And then, past him, I saw Ethan. His suit was wrinkled, his tie loose. He looked smaller somehow. Tired. Our eyes met. He started to move toward me. Ela. I turned back to the journalist. Sorry, I need to catch the next question. The woman smiled, unaware of the moment she'd interrupted. Where do you see this app in 5 years? Helping people in ways we haven't even imagined yet. I said I felt Ethan still lingering at the edge of the crowd, but I didn't look again. This wasn't his moment. Ms. Lee returned to my side. Excellent answers, she murmured. An excellent restraint. You saw him? I asked. I've been in business long enough to recognize a man who regrets letting someone go, she said. Don't let him make this about him. I won't. After the speeches, Noah found me by the buffet. You handled that perfectly, he said. I didn't even say 2 words to him, I admitted. That's the point, Noah said. You didn't need to. As the event wound down, I stood by the stage watching people exchange business cards. Shake hands, plan futures. You're somewhere else, Noah said, joining me. I'm here, I told him. More here than I've ever been. When the photographers called for one last group shot, I stepped forward with Ms. Lee, Noah, and the team. The flashes were blinding, but I kept smiling because this was mine, and I wasn't giving any of it back. Noah set his coffee down. You've seen the news? I nodded. Yeah, Ethan's company is finished. Clara? He asked. Gone. Moved abroad. Probably on to her next opportunity. He studied me. Does it feel like closure? I stirred my drink. Feels like nothing, and maybe that's the point. Weeks passed, and I stopped thinking about him until that afternoon. I was heading to the cafe near the office, the one I hadn't stepped into since that day. The bell over the door jingled, and I froze. He was there. He was alone, hunched over a coffee. No phone. No laptop. Just staring at the table like it might give him answers. I stepped forward, and his head lifted. Our eyes met. Isla, he said, voice low. I didn't stop. His smile barely lifted one corner of his mouth. It's been a long time. Not long enough, I said, walking past him. Wait, he said. I paused, but only for a second. Why? He swallowed. I just wanted to say I'm sorry. I glanced at him. His suit was worn, his tie crooked. He looked nothing like the man who once stood beside me. Full of charm and certainty. Sorry, I repeated, my tone flat. Yes, he said, for all of it. For hurting you. I shook my head. Don't. I'm not here for that. He sighed. I don't expect you to forgive me. Good, I said. His eyes flickered like he'd hoped for something else. You changed. I had too, I replied. For a moment, neither of us spoke. The cafe sounds filled the silence, milk steaming, cups clinking, soft chatter. He leaned forward. I thought I had everything. And then it all fell apart. I met his gaze. It didn't just fall apart. You broke it. You chose to. He looked down. Clara left. Took clients. I lost everything. That's not my problem. I know. He tried to smile again, but it was thin. I'm glad you're doing well, though. I took a breath. Ethan, I'm not angry anymore. But I'm not going to be your audience while you rewrite the past. He blinked. I thought maybe we could talk. We just did. I turned and walked toward the counter, ordered my drink, waited. My hands didn't shake. My chest didn't ache. When I picked up the cup, I glanced his way. He was still sitting there, smaller than I remembered. He gave me a weak smile. I didn't return it. I walked past him, out the door, into the cold air. Noah called later. "How was your afternoon?" "Strange," I said. "I saw Ethan." Oh, a pause. "You okay?" "Better than okay." I walked past him. That's it. Proud of you," he said. I smiled to myself. I'm proud. Of me too. I wasn't being cruel. I was just done. "Noah," I said, holding up my phone, "we're on the front page." He leaned over, eyes scanning the headline. "Local app creator goes national." He grinned. "That's you." "That's us," I corrected. "You're the one who built it." "And you're the one who kept me from giving up," I said. Don't downplay it. That week was chaos. My inbox filled faster than I could answer. Investors called daily. Interview requests piled up. One night, Noah walked into my apartment and found me surrounded by papers. "Speech tomorrow," he asked. "Yes, keynote. Thousands of people." He smirked. "You're going to own that stage?" "I'm terrified," I admitted. He sat beside me. "Remember when you couldn't even check your email because it felt like too much?" I laughed softly. "Yeah, I also remember you showing up with soup. Best soup I ever bought." He said. The conference hall was massive. Cameras flashed, people waved, and my name lit up the giant screen behind me. "Breathe." Noah whispered before I walked on stage. "I am." "You're holding your breath," he teased. The spotlight hit and applause filled the room. "Thank you," I began. "A few years ago, I was just an idea and a laptop. Today, we're a global platform." The crowd leaned in. I told them about risk, failure, and resilience, not as a fairy tale, but as truth. Afterward, people swarmed me. "That was inspiring," a young woman said. "I didn't think I could start something until now." "You can," I told her, "and you should." Backstage, Noah handed me water. "You killed it." "I didn't faint," I said. "You soared," he corrected. That night over dinner, I asked, "Do you ever think about where we started?" He smiled. "You mean when you were hiding from the world and I was too shy to knock?" "Exactly." "I think about it a lot," he admitted. On the flight to New York for another event, Noah leaned over. "What's it like seeing your name?" "Everywhere." "Strange," I said. "Like it's mine, but also not." He studied me. "You still feel like her, don't you? The girl on the kitchen floor." "Every day. But now, she's proof. Proof I can survive anything." The next morning, I spoke at a leadership breakfast. Across the table, a CEO said, "You've built something rare authenticity in tech." "I built something honest," I replied. "I think that's why it works." Between flights, I found a quiet corner in the airport. Noah joined me with coffee. "You're quiet," he said. "I'm just taking it in. All of this. You've earned every second," he said. "Sometimes I still feel like someone's going to tap me on the shoulder and tell me it's over." "No one's taking this from you," he said firmly. In Los Angeles, I walked a red carpet for a tech awards gala. Flashbulbs exploded. "You look like you belong here," Noah murmured. "I don't know if I do." "You do," he said. "More than anyone." At the after party, an investor clinked her glass. "To Isla Heartproof that resilience pays off." I smiled, but my chest tightened. Later, in the quiet of my hotel room, I admitted to Noah, "I don't want to lose who I was before all this." "You won't," he said. "You've just grown around her." On a late-night walk in Chicago, I stopped under a glowing billboard my face. My app logo, my name in bold letters. "That's surreal," I whispered. Noah looked up at it. "It's reality. Yours." I turned to him. "Ours." He hesitated. "You've changed my life too." "How?" "You've made me believe people can come back from anything that I can too." I felt my throat tighten. "Noah, I'm not saying this because of the lights or the success," he said. "I'm saying it because somewhere between soup at your door and standing here under your name, You became the person I want beside me for the rest of my life. I swallowed hard. That's a lot. True things usually are. I took a step closer. Then I guess it's my turn to say something true. He waited. I feel the same. The city hummed around us. Cameras, headlines, speeches. They all faded. It was just me. The girl who once broke on a kitchen floor. And the man who stood beside her until she could stand on her own. The night air was cold as I stepped out of the venue, the award still warm in my hand. Noah slipped his arm around me. "You did it again," he said. "Feels unreal," I replied, "even after all these years." We were halfway to the car when Noah paused. "Isla, don't look right away." "Why?" He hesitated. "Ethan." Across the street. I turned anyway. He was standing there under the streetlight, hands in his pockets, shoulders hunched. The years had carved deep lines into his face. His eyes locked on mine, glassy with something I couldn't name. Noah glanced at me. "Do you want me to?" "No," I said quickly. "There's nothing to say." We stood for a moment, the city sounds rushing around us. He didn't move closer, didn't call my name. I took a slow breath. It's strange. I used to imagine this moment, what I'd say if I ever saw him again. And now? Noah asked. I realize I don't. Need to say anything at all? Ethan shifted his weight like he wanted to speak, but the words never came. Noah's voice was low. "Do you want to go?" "In a minute," I murmured. The years between us felt like a canyon. I remembered the girl who had once begged for answers, who had cried herself sick waiting for an apology. She wasn't here anymore. "Are you okay?" Noah asked. I smiled faintly. "More than okay." Across the street, Ethan's expression softened. Almost like he knew I was saying goodbye without words. My fingers tightened around the award. He doesn't know this, but I'm grateful. For what? For teaching me what I'd never accept again. Noah nodded. That's the thing about the past. You can't erase it, but you can outgrow it. I looked back at Ethan one last time. Exactly. He blinked slowly, as if he understood. Maybe he did, and maybe he didn't. It didn't matter. Noah gestured toward the car. "Ready?" I took a step, then stopped. "Wait." I straightened my shoulders and let a smile rise, not for him, but for me. For the woman I'd become. For the life I'd built brick by brick after the wreckage. And then I turned away in the car. Noah started the engine. "You didn't even speak." "I didn't have to." "Closure?" he asked. I watched the streetlights blur past. More than that? Freedom. We drove in silence for a while. My phone buzzed congratulations from friends, colleagues, strangers who'd watched my journey from afar. "You think he'll ever call?" Noah asked. "Maybe," I said, "but I won't answer." He glanced at me. "You're sure?" "Sure," I said, the certainty grounding me. That chapter's done, sealed, burned even. Noah smiled. "Then here's to the rest of the story." I raised my award like a toast to the rest of the story. We merged onto the freeway, the city fading behind us. Somewhere back there, under that streetlight, Ethan was still standing. But he wasn't my story anymore, and I wasn't his.